It's back to school time, which means it's an expensive time for parents. You've got clothes, you've got backpacks, you've got shoes, you've got school supplies. And we just did a school supply drive at Modern Law, and I will tell you, school supplies are expensive. And no, child support does not cover all of your obligations to provide any financial support to your children. I posted about this a little while ago, and I was really shocked by the number of people who said that they don't get any help from the other parent because they receive child support, or the number of people who said, a judge told us we don't have to pay anything more. Like, really? What? Like, these are your kids. These are your kids. If you all lived in the same house, you'd be getting what they needed. And they didn't ask to be children of divorce. We are responsible for the fact that we've put our children in a situation where they now have all of the stupid things they have to go through because they have divorced parents, worrying about where they are going to get school supplies or whether or not their parents fighting is going to stop them from getting what they need is not something that our children should have to worry about. So please take the focus off of the fact that you don't want to give money to your ex and instead think about what it is that you owe your children, which is really a lot. We all are responsible for giving our children what they need, and we want to give our children what they need in order to be successful adults. Now, one mom said that she put together an Amazon list and sent it to her ex, and that was a really good way of dealing with it. She said she was surprised by how many things he bought off the list to send to her house. So for some people, it is simply the act of giving money or transferring money from one spouse to their ex that really irks them. And they're not as upset about giving money to buying things for the children directly. But the other thing that I've noticed is a real tendency not to want to pay for things for your children if your children are not visiting you, or if you don't have as much parenting time, or if they don't want to see you. And that is understandable. It's truly understandable that if your children don't want to spend time with you or are refusing to spend time with you, that you are less inclined to want to get them what they want and what they need. And if you all lived in the same house and one child was being a real brat, you would be able to say, I'm not paying for you to go to a movie this weekend with your friends based on your attitude. I need to see changes. You could use that as a very logical, normal parenting tool that you kind of lose. This is, again, one of those really difficult things about parenting post-divorce. Because, in fact, when we don't have our children, when we see our children less, our child support obligation goes up. We owe more. And we're not getting the benefit of fully parenting them, which includes buying things, not buying things, teaching them how you value money, how you decide what things to buy, what things not to buy, going shopping with them, picking out clothes, helping them find themselves. So spending money on your children is usually tied as a parent to parenting. And when it becomes a purely financial transaction, that can be very hard for parents to get over. So how can you get around that? Well, once again, I'm going to say focusing on the relationship with your children is absolutely critical. I was talking to somebody the other day who said, if I got divorced from my spouse, my children would have such a hard time because losing the preferred parent. And many cases when you have couples who are intact, living in the same home, one child might have a preferred parent. And I think that many times when that is gone, that preferred parent is gone, the other parent has to either step up and figure out a way to connect with that child where they really didn't have to as much before, because they could just say, hey, the child and the parent who were more connected could easily gravitate towards one another to handle each other's problems. And when you're then in a split household, you have to figure out a new relationship with each child. I think you have to be a better parent when you are a divorced parent. Now, the advantage we have is that we don't have to be on all the time. So if you have 50-50, you get a break and then you are ready to bring your A game. But none of this is simple. None of this is simple, and it's also complex because we've got relationships, we've got money, we've got we've got compatibility issues. We've got children who are dealing with their own issues. So all I think that we can do is challenge ourselves to do the very best we can, become the very best parent we can be, and try to support our children as much as we are possibly able. But again and again, I will go back to the point that I think having a strong relationship with your child is the most important thing you can possibly do when you get stuck in a situation of co-parenting.